Hey everybody, this is Perch. I've had a few mails over the months, and they're never long enough. It's usually, and the question often comes wrapped up in something else. It's usually somebody tattling on somebody else. I do get a lot of emails that are, "Hey Perch, you see what these people over there were saying about you?" And there's always this question in there, and it's like, "Don't you care what they're saying about you?" And my answer is no, I don't, and I it really and you might say, "Well, then why are you talking about it on this channel?" Because it's something to talk about. But no, do I go to sleep like seething? Do I worry? Do I more than anything, do I feel like the need to get in there and correct my record or to make it more clear how I think? I don't. I don't feel those things. And Joe, when he was on the channel, we did a video together. He made some comment about like, Perch is complaining about what other people are saying. That comment stuck with me a little bit because I didn't think, that's true. I think of all the videos I do, it's not a major part of all. Maybe I'm fooling myself. It's fine. But I want to dig into, in my mind, the problem with blogs, with websites, with YouTube videos and channels, with a lot of it as it relates to comics. Like, what is the problem with comics? And for me, the problem is that a lot of these places are pretending to be news. They're billing themselves as news. Sometimes it's commentary and news. But the problem is that their purpose and the reason why a lot of people listen to it is not to debate, not to, because I believe, by the way, that good debate, good arguments are healthy. Like I like it when there's a good. I don't like arguments in bad faith. And there's plenty of those where people will come in and then they'll want to argue with something you didn't actually say, and they take some snippet of what you said and then they rapidly twist it, and it's the straw man argument, and that happens all the time. Somebody will be. I'll complain that hey, it happened with this Wonder Man video I did, where I said it really seems like they should actually try and promote popular black characters. They have some. Marvel has some versus going to a C or D list character and then race swapping them and then complaining that people are racist because they don't accept it. I mean, whether people accept it or not, Wonder Man doesn't have the. I mean, it's much harder to make that a massive success than it would be, say, just recast Black Panther. Get Blade out. Go with a more popular character. You're just making it harder on yourself. Was my point. And people came in and wanted to turn that into, oh, this means you don't want black people and more. No, I didn't say that at all. I didn't say that at all. But that's kind of where the arguments come from, and that definitely frustrates me. But I generally believe that arguments and debate are healthy. In the comic shop, if you've ever been a part of, two people arguing over a comic character, which character is more popular, any number of things, you'll know it's fun. It actually is a fun dialogue, and people bring up stuff that you hadn't thought of. They bring up new aspects to who would win between Superman and Silver Surfer. They're kind of fun to think about. It's a good passage of time. So I enjoy those debates. I enjoy those conversations. But that's just me. It's not for everybody, and that's fine. Um, but my problem with a lot of channels and certainly blogs, things that you'll see on Bleeding Cool or The Beach or anything else, is that the people who are writing and creating this stuff, they're not really writing or creating things to debate or to put an idea out for people to kind of, take an opposite opinion on. They put an idea out because they know their audience is looking for affirmation, not information. And if you look at kind of a lot of the YouTube channels and a lot of stuff, and I know the conversations have gone on around movie reviews and everything else, and quite frankly, a lot of the anti woke channels, they exist less to inform and more to affirm. I mean, the people listening to them, they're not really there to, learn about some new aspect. They're not there to learn, how Disney's stock price is doing or not doing because, these channels would report on Disney's stock price whether it went up or down, but generally they only report on when it goes down. It's a channel designed to affirm your beliefs. You believe that comic books aren't as good as they used to be. Well, I believe that too, quite honestly. By the way, that's an argument that I've had with plenty of people. Like, how dare you say it? No, I think, objectively, their comic books are not at the same quality level as they were 30 years ago. And I think there's lots of reasons behind that have, some to do with political correctness, some that do not. But regardless, and that's not, by the way, it's not a knock. There's good comics being created, and there's good creators out there. Saying I don't think comics are the same quality levels they were 30 years ago is not saying that all the comics out today are shit. They're not. There's good comics from good creators out there for sure. But on a whole, that's just how I feel. And you could look at it different ways. But if you're frustrated with comics and you're of the belief that the problem with comics is too much of the gays or too much woke politics or whatever it happens to be, whatever reason you developed, then a lot of people listen to channels to affirm that belief. Because if you believe that, you wouldn't click on a thumbnail that said, you know, uh, company goes woke, goes broke again. You wouldn't click on that because you're like, yeah, I'm already got that information. I don't need to like what new can I be gained there? But they're not looking for new information. They're looking to affirm their already held beliefs. And to me, and so the same thing, by the way, people who go to Heidi McDonald's blog or sites, it's like, all the money's in YA. Those are the books that they're doing great. Scholastic Record, and of course she knows deep down that that is not a balanced argument for, people saying comic books are failing and coming back with saying, no, they're not. YA is doing great. I mean, those are two different things and everybody knows it, right? You're not fooling anybody to go, oh, well, I guess she taught me. I guess I've been informed. The people who are listening and to or reading that article are people who are fans of Heidi's who are on a different side of the culture war and they're just looking to be affirmed. They're looking to kind of walk away from the article going, yeah, those dumb racist incels, they don't know what they're talking about. But they had that opinion before they started reading the article. They had that's where a lot of, I think, quite frankly, comic interviews go wrong. And I'm not going to shit on any interviews, but a lot of them that I listen to, and when I'm about to interview somebody, I often listen to previous interviews to see, because I don't want to ask the same questions. I'm trying to think if there's something new that I could come up with. But how many of these interviews have you heard where it's like, you're an amazing comic writer and you've always written amazing comics. And now you've got a new comic coming out that will certainly be amazing. Is this the most amazing comic you've ever done? And the creator's like, yes, I am really excited about this. You're going to be amazed. Well, you sold me. Like a lot of interviews feel that way. And to me, it's like, I- it, I was no smarter after listening to that interview than before. I guess I can ascertain from it, like, you know, creator is excited about work that he's doing. Well, that's good. I mean, it is better than an interview where the creator's like, I don't know, you buy it or not, or I don't know, ever since the election, I can't write heroes anymore, so it's probably going to suck. I don't know, but to me, that's the issue with a lot of channels, with a lot of blogs, a lot of everything is they're written and they're recorded not to argue with, not to debate, not to learn, not to inform. They're designed to affirm. And uh, your mileage may vary, but you know, affirmation is not really something at this stage in my life I'm interested in. I don't need to be affirmed. I'm actually quite confident in my current choices and selections as a consumer. And so I'm interested in the inform. I'm interested in the, oh, how is this creator going to do a sci-fi tale differently? What is the marketing spend for DC these days, and what are they spending it on? From a retailer perspective, what's moving in the store and what's having troubles? Like those questions to me are very interesting, and I'd love to learn more about them and get deeper into that. But puff pieces hold zero interest to me. That's so that to me is what a lot of, frankly, comic journalism, comic blogs, comic news, other things, that's quite frankly my issue with it. Is it's designed, a lot of that material is just designed to affirm. And so when you ask me a question like, aren't you bothered when X, Y, or Z attacks you or comes after you? No. I mean, I want it to be on good faith for sure. And it does irritate me when somebody's attacked me for something I don't believe or ever said or held or anything else. They've just invented their own guy. But even then, as having done this channel for 5 years, I care less about that as well. It just, or put it another way, I'm all out of fucks. I just, oh, are there people out there who are going to disingenuously create arguments? Sure. Am I going to be annoyed in the future because somebody finds a new creative way to do that? Sure. I believe it. But more than anything, if I'm frustrated or disappointed in like dad Perch voice. I'm disappointed in all of you. It's that there's so little information. If you're a news site, you're supposed to present information. If you're Rich Johnston retweeting or reposting a bunch of tweets from creators who are unhappy about, Donald Trump winning the election, that's not information. What have I learned? And I think for all of you, if I could give you some advice and you could take it or leave it, it's really up to you. But so the advice I'd give is like seek out places where you're going to learn something, where there's something new being presented, where you actually emerge from it with something you didn't have before. And maybe that's through info, and maybe that's through argument. Maybe through a nice debate, you get a different perspective on things. But, living inside of an affirmation echo chamber all the time, I mean, what good is that? You're not doing anything. You're just killing time. You're eating empty calories. There's nothing to it. If you believe that Hollywood is woke, listening to videos about how Hollywood is woke, continuously, what have you added to your repertoire? What have you added to your intelligence, to your knowledge? Have you grown at all in that process? Yeah, you have another voice, maybe an entertaining voice, and several of these voices are very entertaining. They do funny voices, they have funny jokes, and all the rest. But I skipped. I didn't watch YouTube videos for quite a long time, like a couple months, and then I came back and I was like, oh, I should catch up and listen to this one. And I was listening to some from from YouTube channels and creators that I used to not always agree with, but at least I found entertaining. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't even find it entertaining anymore because it's the same bit. It's like nothing has changed, just perfectly preserved in a time capsule. 2 months has gone by, and it's like the same joke. And I didn't get anything new out of it. There was no information. There's nothing new. It was pure affirmation. Anyway, just a thought. Um, just I'm curious. Do you watch videos for info, to argue, to debate, to stretch your thinking? Do you read news articles for info? I mean, quite frankly, we've always a lot of talk right now about how the legacy media is dying. I think a big reason why parts of legacy media are dying is because it turned into affirmation articles, not news. If you go to MSNBC and you read about how Trump's a douche, was there anything new in there? Was there any information? Was there any news? Or was it just affirming? Was it written for somebody who believes Trump's a douche, and then here's somebody writing that Trump is a douche, and then maybe you feel good about yourself because somebody agrees with you. But don't we deserve more than that? I think people are waking up to the fact that they do, and that's why you're seeing a lot of stuff starting to fail. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. Like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.